We have a great interview for you guys tonight. Russell Simmons is in the house. Of course, legendary founder of Def Jam Records, also Def Comedy Jam, Def Poetry, Fat Farm, Baby Fat, Rush Communications, and now the new YouTube channel you got to all check out, All Def Digital, which I want to talk to you about in a little bit.
It launches today.
Well,
ADD. ADD is it?
Yeah. Actually, here, let's start talking about that now, because you got a comic on there that you're going to put on there. You bring back the Harlem Shadow comic book, and Common's involved. What's going on there?
That's a fun thing to do. I mean, it's a great character, it's a great comic, and we're doing it. We also launched today the B-Rock animation series. And the B-Rock animation series is like Barack Obama turns into like the guy you didn't want to elect. And it's really funny, and it starts today. You can look.
Well, I already like that.
It's called B-Rock, and that's on right now. And also, there's another one, Blackie Sack, on right now. You're gonna love that. Episode 1 of that is on right now, and there's a whole bunch. Oh, the Harriet Tubman sex diaries are on today, beginning today. The Harriet Tubman
you can
sex
put that
diaries.
on.
So there's a lot of comedy stuff.
I couldn't put that on.
Well, I mean, you can watch it. You know, but he makes it. She ends up. You know, she. You know, there's a big YouTuber, Daystorm's in the closet as a slave, and he's filming. And he gets the slave owner.
Damn, that's a serious place, man.
And she tells the slave owner, nigga, get to digging. And so he has to dig the Underground Railroad.
The slave owner does?
Yeah, because it's a sex tape.
Oh, well, that's all underground. I hear you.
Yeah,
okay.
So we got a lot of fun creative. So we have Jarrell Perry on there, too, as a music star. Because all Def music, all Def comedy, all Def poetry. So we're expanding. It's like almost 3 YouTube channels because they're all 3. They're all deaf, I mean, in terms of what they represent, because it's a kind of cultural space that we play in. So it's kind of consistent, but it is launching today. And watch the B-Rock show about Barack Obama. It's an animated show.
So I want to ask you about that, because look, I want to get back to what you see in YouTube as far as potential, because you're a guy who knows a thing or two about seeing potential, right? But how about Barack Obama? You mentioned that it's you know, as a different take you guys are doing in a fun kind of way.
Yeah, most people wouldn't do it. It's kind of controversial. Like they wouldn't think that it would be, like I'm sure that certain people at the White House would be upset, but Barack I don't think would be. In other words, Barry Jarrett might be like, how dare you, but Barack would probably laugh at it.
So what's your take on Obama so far? How's he been as a president?
He's done very well. You know, I'm really, really encouraged about the Attorney General's statement. We wrote a letter, everybody from Brad Pitt to Justin Bieber signed it, to the head of the NAACP, the head of the urban leagues and all the civil rights organizations, Latino, Black, and obviously the head of the Drug Policy Alliance signed on and supported it, and a lot of congressmen and senators. The idea of reforming our drug laws, because the prison industrial complex has had such a chokehold on communities of color for the last 40 years. And there's this book called The New Jim Crow. You probably know about that, right? So you're locking up all these diseased people, innocent diseased people. And for 20 years I've worked on this. We changed the New York state laws, but not enough. Diseased people go to jail, get educated in criminal behavior, and then get dumped back in the hood with no chance of survival. And then you know, people like walk around with jail culture as their core. I mean, always darker, more fun, more edgy stuff has been the core of culture, from jazz and blues and rock and roll and what adults don't like. But that is the reason that we have saggy pants. Because someone pointed out today, other day, he pointed out about the saggy pants. I did come from jail, but what's the core? And I mean, it's not even, the pants don't make the man, the prisons have made the man. And that's kind of a discussion we have to have, because they've locked up at a ratio of, like, I think it's 8-to-1 more likely that a black drug addict will go to jail over a white drug addict. Now, that's a weird thing. There's a lot of reasons for it. It's institutional. It's not, you know, personal racists sitting around conspiring. It just happens that blacks are 8 times more likely to go to jail for using the same drugs as their white counterpart. And but never mind how unjust it is in the way it's executed. You don't lock up diseased people and train them to be violent criminals and then dump them back in communities.
Well, I want to ask you about that, because given
so that was Eric
Holder's
Holder's statement just now, and that's the president who supported that. Right. And we've been pushing for that, and we're thankful.
Well, think about it. You know, President Obama smoked pot when he was younger. President Bush did the same thing.
Everybody smoked pot when they were younger.
All right. Well, but you know, if caught in the wrong circumstances, he could have wound up in jail, and then he wouldn't be President Barack Obama. You know, I read that you sold some marijuana, and
I took every drug.
Okay. No, but you sold some
Every
too.
fucking drug I took.
heard you sold fake cocaine, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
Did you
I
do that?
actually.
Okay. All right.
That's bad though. That's a stupid thing to do. I mean, not because of the police. Of course, the police did arrest me, let me go to jail, but that's because somebody shoots fake cocaine in their arm, and it had caffeine in it. So, but I mean, if you shot, it could be damaging.
Right.
And then you put yourself at risk, and also you can get hit in the head if they know it's fake.
Yeah, that's
so
another part of the damage that I'd be
scary
concerned
part
about.
of my young life.
So now you went through that. If you think that if they had locked you up like with the mandatory minimums, that you wouldn't be Russell Simmons, right? I mean, like, how would your life have been different? I mean, obviously you wouldn't have gotten the great fortune.
I wouldn't be running
I don't
5
think.
charities. Today I have a big event, which I know we're live, right?
Yes.
Today I have an event for the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding, and what we do is we have imams speak in synagogues and rabbis speak in mosques. And this program is in 36 countries. Well, it's 36 countries. Even Israel, we have 20 programs with imams speaking. And you have the imams standing up against anti-Semitism and the rabbis standing up against Islamophobia all over the world. And so that's the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding today at my house. If you want to donate, it's ffeu.org.
Right. And look, that's what I'm saying is wasted potential.
I wouldn't be doing none of this shit. You're right.
Right. I mean, look at all the potential we probably wasted with all these mandatory minimums, et cetera,
The
right?
families we destroyed, the $1 trillion we spent.
Yep.
And it's all because, some lobby, it all goes back to why we occupy. Did you occupy or just show up and film?
No, I was there for a week. And
Did you sleep in the park?
No, I didn't. Did you sleep in the park? No.
I slept one night in the park.
You know why?
I slept at night. I didn't live in the park, but I slept one night in the park.
Okay, I thought
slept
I
as
might.
a symbolic thing. I did it. Reverend Sharpton or Jackson, one of them, Jackson slept that night. We slept. It was all good. But I lived across the street, so I used to sleep.
Right,
but I brought coats out to the park quite a bit, and I went every single day I occupied.
No, one of the great
things. When I was
things.
in New York. When I left, I'd missed a day or two.
Oh, so let me keep it real. First of all, I went out there and I thought maybe it was going to be an actual park, and then I saw it and I'm like, Jesus, it's just concrete. And I couldn't get myself to sleep on the concrete. I'm keeping it real. I couldn't do it.
It got cold after a while. I didn't sleep when it was cold. I slept in one of the warmest nights and the most comfortable night.
Right.
And and I went in and out. Actually, I went in and out. I was like, but I was there. And the point is, I was there, and I'm in many places in spirit. I can't lead every charge. I certainly can loan my celebrity is the easiest thing in the world. Loan your celebrity, keep talking. The fact is that the reason we occupied is because we have such a flawed democracy. And that our democracy, so long as you can have legal bribery, the politicians will always work for the money instead of the people. And that is the core of the problem with the prison industrial complex, because any fool knows that we don't want to lock up all those people and train them to be violent criminals. Any fool knows that. We don't want to take everybody from Rush Limbaugh to the president to anybody, all using drugs, and illegally if you do it in the wrong fashion. So all have experience and it's hurtful. It's true, I'm a vegan. I don't take drugs, I don't drink, I don't do shit. Mm-hmm. I'm a monk. But I did it all, and I don't think that it was hurtful to others. And had I been in jail, I could have learned to become hurtful to others. I could have been educated in violent criminal behavior and then dumped back in the hood with no chance for survival, no chance for job, like many of my friends.
Right.
So it's a really obvious thing, but only because the prison industrial complex pays our politicians that such laws exist.
You're 100% right about the legalized bribery and the prison industrial complex. And I remember the great thing you did at Occupy was when Bloomberg was coming up with BS excuses, oh, we need to pay for the cleanup, et cetera, and you stepped up and said, I'll pay for it.
Oh, yeah, I
right?
did say
and
that.
you took that
I didn't
excuse
have to pay.
away. Yeah, no, but it was great. It was a great statement.
The thing I did about Occupy, when Bloomberg sent the police in and cleaned it out, I went to Boston on that day and I introduced a constitutional amendment that Dennis Kucinich and I crafted that was about public funding. And then I went to the Progressive Caucus, and in a moment where everybody's talking about it at all, the Progressive Caucus, and even Nancy Pelosi showed up, and they all said, oh yeah, we support you. But even the Democrats, they like the fact that they got the money lined up, that they're going to beat their opponent.
Definitely.
If you're in Congress for 16 years, you don't want to blow it messing around with making a fair democracy. So even the Democrats who were in the progressive caucus, like the first person who stood up when I spoke, I remember, was Jesse Jackson Jr. Now, he can't help now, right? But see, they all needed to have relationships with people who fund and support and continue to promote their position. And so no Democrat, except Dennis Kucinich, who was voted out of office after 25 years, right after introducing that amendment.
Yeah, look, I start a wolf pack. Same thing, amendment, publicly financed elections, and corporate personhood. Because if you don't get money out of politics, we're all screwed on all these issues.
Of course.
But as a guy who's, a believer in that amendment.
Man, Nat Rothschild could roll out of bed tomorrow and say, I want to make you president, and point to his dog.
Right.
And probably where the campaigns are going and the way the people are not as sophisticated as they could be about the politicians, the dog with no record, could make it, right?
But as a guy who supports Occupy, as a guy who supports that amendment, you can't possibly think that Barack Obama's done enough.
On that?
On everything. First of all, on that, he hasn't changed the system at all. He campaigned on change.
Well, I like that he's talking about, he can't change a lot on his own anyway, but I like that he talked a lot about money in politics. The whole question came up, should he take money? Well, you're in a system, you got to deal with the system as it is, but you can change it. And he was willing to do that.
I don't mind him taking the money as long as he tries to change it, but I don't think he's tried to change it. Do you think that?
He has done some work on the subject, yes. And I think that what he's doing with the prison industrial complex is bucking the system some, yes, and fighting for it. And a lot of the things he's done, whether it's gay rights, he's been just a half a step ahead of the public opinion in his views and his actions. And so he can only do what, he is the president of the United States of America, and he can only move. It'd be good if I could get up tomorrow morning and support all these things that I think promote well-being for humanity, but humanity has to go along. Even as a progressive, I listen to conservatives and they talk and I say, I guess something they said is true. I don't kind of believe it, but I don't think they're just stupid. They have opinions, and so I'm more. If you had to take me in the political spectrum, I'd be somewhere way to the left of Dennis Kucinich.
I know, that's why I can't believe that you're being polite. You're being polite. I don't believe that you think Barack Obama's done all that he can.
I think that he's done as much as he can. He can't do shit he's trying to do. You know what I mean? He's having a hard time doing the stuff he's trying to do.
Well, that's fair. I hear you on that.
He got to get something. He's got to be able to, be political. Even when I made the deal with the governor, I got in a lot of trouble over that shit. But when we made the deal to change the New York State drug laws, people were really mad at me. Like all the people a third of the people who protested with me were mad at me. But the guys who came home from jail right after we made the deal, they weren't mad. And the fact that when the next governor came along, we had a lot easier way, but it was even tough then, to change it again. I got the pen from both of those governors. I was involved in the first part where there was perceived compromise, and the second part there was perceived a lot less compromise. And then now I'm still pushing, and people, as they understand the problem and the complexities of it and what it promotes and what negativity it gives off to the world, they have to be thankful that the Rockefeller drug laws were destroyed and that the mandatory minimums in New York State were changed, not changed first and then destroyed. These are important steps, but it is a step process in some cases. And so, I'm a reasonable guy. I know that, everybody's got to go along with a deal, or it's not a deal.
I hear you. And speaking of
I'm
conservatives,
not a bully. It's a democracy.
No, I understand. So speaking of conservatives, let's go to Don Lemon. You mentioned saggy pants earlier, and he's the guy, of course, that brought it up.
Wait a minute.
Oh, you're gonna sag him? You're gonna sag him? Don't do it, man. Don will get mad at you, man. He'll get mad at you.
Look, wait, hold on.
Okay, this is getting more personal than I suspected.
But tell me though, honestly, the fuck is this gonna rob somebody? Wait, I can put my drawers up.
Okay.
Come on,
Russell Simmons getting naked on the Young Turks.
Don Lemon.
Getting serious tonight.
Come on, man. You think this got something to do with people suffering in communities? You think that mini skirt that my assistant or Jane Fonda, she's still wearing a mini skirt?
Yeah.
Oh, and she's old. And she's older. But not older. She's not old. I'm sorry, Simone. But I'm saying what I mean by that is, the fuck. So you think a woman wearing pants is fucked up? Does she have to go to jail? Is she like a criminal because she's wearing pants at some point in time? Do you think that Barack Obama and his afro? You think that Secretary of State with that American flag wrapped around his head and shit, anti-war activist that he was? Do you think that the jazz musician in his zoot suit was the problem in the black community? Do you think that anything that became the coolest, most mainstream part of American culture later, when it happened, was the reason that kids didn't become shit? We have to take responsibility for children and what we're not doing for them. The lack of opportunity, the lack of education, the prison industrial complex, and it is true that saggy pants came from jail, but a miniskirt, who knows where they came from? Some whore came up with it, right? Right? I mean, you know, these things. So pants, some, you know, obnoxious woman was wearing them, you know, some butch, I guess, you know. So whatever the fuck, I think that what Don Lemon said was he's probably a guy who wore a suit as a child. And God bless him. He didn't invent the internet, though. He didn't do shit. He's a talking head, and I'm not knocking him. He's a straight guy, does straight shit. He believes everybody should be like him. But kids are individuals. They need self-expression and creative expression. And as far as the language issue, I don't know. My dad became a professor of black history. He called me the N-word all the time. Nigga go to church, nigga go to school, nigga go to, you better not come home without an A, nigga. That's what my father said to me. And if you told my father, who was a civil rights activist, who, you know, was arrested many times, who did more shit, like, you know, I've been an activist, my father was an activist. He inspired me to try to change the world for the better. And if you had told him that he could stop using the N-word, he would turn over in his grave right now. You can't tell. Now, if you don't have a direct relationship to a slave, then you probably shouldn't use the word. But if you have come out of that suffering, and if that's what you want to say, and if you know it's the norm in the black community, you don't think that somebody using the N-word has anything to do with dropping a rapper on the floor. It has nothing to do with dropping a rapper on the floor. You know, and to say that, it's like you're disdain for that community. You don't understand it. The things that he said, those are all personal responsibility. I'm all for it. I'm a vegan. I don't eat any animal product. That means all the shit you put in front of me to eat, I'm not gonna eat any of it. I'm a meditator. I don't miss my mornings in meditation, and I don't miss my physical practice of yoga, and I run many, many companies, and I run 5 charities. And I work, and I'm responsible. And my kids, I instill in them responsibility. But if Ming Lee wants to have purple hair, I'm gonna be like, oh, you sure? You might get hit in the head. My father told my brother, he used to dress like a Black Panther. You're gonna get hit in the head looking like that, but I'm proud of you anyway. You know, you're gonna get hit in the head. That afro, you know, that Black Panther shit you wearing, that beret, all that, you're gonna get hit in the head, nigga. My father told him. But you know what he said? I'm proud of you because you are smart enough to want to change the system. And that is, you know, the youth culture has the greatest power to change society for the future. It's the culture itself, the rebellious nature of young people that have to be accepted, tolerated, and in many cases supported.
Now, your father you used the word, and you became one of the top entrepreneurs in the world. So it's not such a bad.
It didn't destroy me. I'm saying. Right. You know, I'm not saying you have to use it if you're, you know, Don Lemon or someone else, but you know, making that the reason that kids are in trouble when it's closing schools, making that the reason when, you know, you promote, you want to use your bully pulpit, support Eric Holder's work to change, educate people on the prison industrial complex. You want to use your bully pulpit, change the systematic racism that keeps people from getting an opportunity. If you want to use your bully pulpit, use it to really support those activists who see fault with our system that want to make change. Don't try to blame the kids for or the parents for letting them wear their pants. Parents, let them do what they want. That's how they build internets. That's how they create. All of these creative companies come from innovative young people, and they're not made to wear a suit from childhood. But he probably wore one.
Now, I hear you, but if the Bill Cosbys and the Don Lemons of the world want to give constructive criticism, though, right? And I understand, look, they can talk about the prison industrial complex, everything you said, right? But they want to say, hey, listen, you know, you got to make sure you get good grades.
What does clean up a rapper? Get good grades is not, that's fine.
No, and he said that, and that was part of it, et cetera, right? So how should he say it? How should he say it?
Education is important. I talk about it every day. I'm an activist. I had 100,000 people in front of the mayor's office when he tried to cut the education budget. Bring your ass out in the street with me.
All right, that's one way to do it.
The mayor put hundreds of millions of dollars back in the education budget after our rally, and every rapper showed up. Every Jay-Z, 50 Cent, Ja Rule, they came at different times. I mean, and every Mariah Carey, Hillary Clinton came. She was just running for, or became senator. Reverend Jackson, Reverend Sharpton, Susan Sarandon, we all came, we fought. It was our rally, the Hip Hop Summit. They showed up. They got the mayor to put hundreds of millions of dollars in the education budget, and it was a nice step. Just like so do that. Use your voice. Show up where it matters. And then as far as criticizing the black community, in these blanket statements as if, you know them. Just because you have color in your skin don't mean you really understand the complexities of the problem of the black community. But you are a puppet for the conservatives when you speak like that, as if that's what we have to do. You guys address that. No, bullshit. Address all the reasons that blacks are falling further and further behind in various different ways. Culture, it may be a reflection of some of it. Some culture may be a reflection of that. But culture is a reflection of a reality that has it has core problems that have to be dealt with. And then if you want culture cleaned up, you want everybody to be a yogi. I wish everybody sat and meditated every morning. I wish everybody lived a pure life and didn't eat animals. I wish people weren't abusive to each other. I don't want people to go to war. I don't want kids not to be educated. I don't want any of that. But I don't want to deny the responsibility that's mine in terms of changing the world so the kids can have this freedom and that we can promote freedom and happiness for all beings.
So Russell, you weren't born rich. How'd you make it out? I always wonder.
How did I make it out?
My dad, for example, wasn't born rich either, and he was born on a farm in southeastern Turkey.
I was lucky. He made it out. When you find out that you like morning meditation better than late night drinking, you stop drinking. Someone had to teach you to meditate. So the point is, when you know what's right and what's in Scripture is right, in the Quran, the Bible, the Torah, the Yoga Sutras, the Bhagavad Gita, all of these scriptures tell us the same shit. So when we have faith in these ideas, we do them. So our job is to teach faith in the Scripture or in these basic ideas. The promotion of happiness comes from these ideas. And everything else around it is a distraction, it's noise. So when we can live as a good servant, as a good giver is a great getter. So not only do you gain happiness in the process of giving, but you gain the shit you think you want as a result, because those people who can give without expectation attract everything. This is basic. This is not only Scripture in one religion, but in every prophet, came out of every prophet's mouth. So knowing these truths and having faith in them is what we have to teach everyone, and in the best way we can. And not by judging and pointing fingers, but by giving them the opportunities until such time that they actually gain this faith or have this experience of happiness that comes from doing what's right. So that's a different discussion, but that's the most basic discussion I can give you.
So Danny Trejo, I interviewed him, he said the same thing, that his life turned around when he started giving rather than trying to take, right? So it's interesting, but so when you were starting Def Jam Records, was that your mentality back then too, or did
I didn't
that
have
change
to
later?
know that I couldn't wait to play this music for those guys. I said, wait till they hear this record. And engage in the process without the result was really, the idea, the melody was slow the world down in such a way that in between every snare drum was a lifetime. And this is how you make a beautiful record, by being focused on the present. And in that present moment, you only want to give. And you don't even have the instinct to give. You're a servant. And this is what promotes enlightenment or happiness. So this is what we got to get into. And we have to promote to kids. I mean, I'm in part of one of my many foundations. I'm involved in the David Lynch Foundation. Mm-hmm. Hundreds of thousands of kids are meditating across the country. We're going to go to Chicago. Don Lemon's welcome to bring his ass with me to the hood in Chicago and teach people to meditate, to get the violence out of the communities where we have such great examples like Dr. Rutherford in the hood in Washington, places around the country. Or he can join the Peacekeepers with me and promote peace in the communities, in the 25 cities where we have chapters. Or he can join any other 5 foundations I have, and he can actually do the work instead of pointing the finger.
So let me talk to you about your YouTube channel, because in the 1970s, a lot of people don't see the potential of rap. You do, right? You see it right from the get-go, and you ride that as it explodes in popularity. Do you see the same kind of potential in YouTube?
I couldn't say that I was a visionary because I'm in the YouTube business. But I can say that we want to do some things that are different from what's been done on YouTube. And that, they say that there's no other record company that has the resources and the kind of infrastructure, resources, personal resources. I want to move artists across media. The minute Spoken Reasons walked in office, we put him in a movie, he's in the heat. He's got 400 million hits on YouTube. There must be something good about him. Let's get him to the rest of the world. But let's develop artists on YouTube as well. But there's lots of stars on YouTube, and it's like there's separate walls, right? They don't have.
Right.
They're like, he's the YouTube star, and these are the other stars. Well, these YouTube stars, need to gain access and gain direction and support. So as a manager, I find that to be thrilling, because there's all these talented people that are underserved. I had a meeting one day, and Shanna Malcolm, Jenna Marbles, Spoken Reasons, Day Storm, all in my office. Who else? Chris Crocker. They're all in my office, and they didn't know each other, and they didn't know what to do with their careers, and they're huge. So they need direction. They need someone who understands the rest of media. I have a deal at HBO. I have a deal for distribution of one of the Universal Pictures places. So I'm finding places for these, and like all the shows, like the minute I open up the Barack Obama show, they're gonna buy it for Adult Swim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're gonna buy it. Adult Swim, you hear that? You're gonna buy it. If you don't buy it, it's
we're
a
coming
funny.
to your house.
You gotta
don't buy it. We're coming to your house.
You should show them. If you could show them the trailer for B-Rock. Mm-hmm. Anytime during the day, show them the trailer for B-Rock.
All right.
And you do that for me. You show them the trailer for B-Rock. You said, all right. You shake your head like.
Okay, all right. I'll show it.
The trailer for B-Rock. When you see that, why would you not want to buy that? Or any other fun stuff. Or you could show them the Harriet. Maybe you can't show them the Harriet Tubman sex tape.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure that was for TV, but it's for something.
It's for certainly something. Yeah, it's from TV. It's not any nudity.
So Harriet keeps her clothes on?
Well, no, but you can't see anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the slave owner, they routinely raped the slaves, and so anyway, she filmed that, and then she makes him do shit.
Okay. Well, look, I'll tell you what, man. Those shows, whether they're controversial, they're funny, whatever it might be, God.
Not hurtful. Nothing's hurtful.
No, I know. No, they're interesting. Like, a lot of people start YouTube channels, and then they do things that, standard stuff that you might see elsewhere. No, your stuff doesn't sound standard.
You got to watch the B-Rock.
It sounds like something you got to check out.
Let the audience see the B-Rock commercial. You might be queuing it up somewhere. You guys queuing it up? B-Rock on ADD.
Everybody check out All Def Digital on YouTube. Russell Simmons, great to have you on the Young Turks again.
All right, thank you.